Hello again, my lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. As once before, I apologize for my long absence. Life has been life, one could say so, and I will not make you wait any longer with my ramblings as we dive right into the next chapter of this wonderful fic. Grab yourself something to drink, a snack, sit back and relax, and let's head into chapter 9 of Percy Might Be a God. At least Odysseus thinks so. Written by Avesrinapproved on AO3. Chapter 9 Pigs and Shades. It does not take long before they reach Circe's palace, pigs squealing somewhere off in the distance, lions and wolves lounging about the garden out front and sleeping on the steps to the door. They lift their heads as Annabeth and Odysseus pass, sniffing their clothes but not attack them. "Watch the animals," Odysseus orders Annabeth as he approaches the door and knocks. It takes a few moments before it opens. "My lady." Odysseus kneels. "My men tell me you have welcomed some of our comrades into your home for food and wine, and I wonder if we might have some as well?" he asks, gesturing back to Annabeth. Circe looks to Annabeth, seeming taken aback by her presence. "Yes, come in. I have plenty," she nods and steps aside, allowing them in. "Thank you." Odysseus stands and gestures Annabeth in, following behind her. Circe smiles. "It is my pleasure." Her home is filled with lovely things, precious metals, finely woven tapestries, soft fabrics and gemstone inlays. Her home is filled with more exquisite things than even his. Now he knows what his men must have done, desiring treasures to bring home and thinking this lone woman was an easy place to get them. He glances at Annabeth to make sure she does not give off the impression of a thief, but she doesn't even seem to notice the treasures. Instead, she is tracing her fingers over the stone walls. He can practically see her cataloging the way the building was constructed. How the stones were carved and placed, how the ceiling is held up. "It is quite a lovely building, isn't it?" he asks Annabeth, so caught up in her interest for a moment that he forgets that they are in a witch's home and meant to be on guard. "Yes, it is. These stones are so smooth. If it was built with humans' hands, it would have taken years just to carve them and all the little details around the ceiling. I love that design. I need to remember to include something like that the next time I get to design a building. And the layout of the window is lovely." She gushes. Circe chuckles. "I've never put that much thought into the way this palace was constructed. You must really like buildings," she notes. "Yes, I'm an architect, so I always enjoy getting to look at new styles," Annabeth agrees. "Maybe I will give you a full tour once you have eaten," Circe offers, gesturing for them to sit next to her hearth. "That would be very lovely. Thank you for the offer." Annabeth nods as she sits in one of the chairs. Odysseus taking up the other and scanning the room while Circe fetches them food and drink. "So you're an architect?" he asks, his eyes land back on Annabeth. "Yes, I've designed quite a few buildings and temples," she confirms. "I've had a passion for it since I was really young." "Not a passion I'd peg you having." "Really? What do you think I'd be interested in?" Annabeth asks. Circe returns with food and drinks as he thinks this over. "Thank you," he nods to Circe as he picks up his cup before continuing. "I guess you struck me as the type to want to be a royal advisor or general, maybe an athlete," he admits, "but an architect makes sense. You definitely have the brain for it." "Thank you," Annabeth says, swelling up with pride. Of course, I'd love to see what you can design, he nods. Have you not known each other long? Circe questions as she fills Annabeth's cup. No, only a few weeks, really, he says as he looks at Annabeth. Annabeth nods. My friends and I got stranded, and Odysseus's fleet agreed to help us, she confirms. Circe looks at Annabeth. Stranded? And where is your destination? She asks. Annabeth looks back at Odysseus. Well, we were traveling back to Odysseus's homeland, but sadly we've been blown off course by a horrible storm. Odysseus nods. We fought it for days and couldn't make it through. My poor men were exhausted by the end, and you can see how much good that did us. He gestured casually around. You must be in desperate need of somewhere to rest. Circe sympathizes. We are, Odysseus agrees. Though I would like to get going soon. We were so close. I am sure my wife would have seen our boats. She will be wondering where I am. I would really prefer to collect my men and go. Where are they, by the way? They haven't come to greet me as they normally would. They are just napping out in the back garden, she gestures. But you have not touched your food. Surely you must want to eat before you leave. Odysseus looks at the food like he's surprised it's still there. Excuse me. We just got so caught up in our conversation I must have forgotten. But I think it would be best if I could check on my men first. They can be such fools at times. Odysseus shakes his head. I just hope they haven't given you much trouble. They were not much trouble, Circe dismisses. They are really, really sweet if you get past all their manness, Annabeth adds, waving her hand about generally. Circe chuckles. So, all of them? Yeah, basically. Annabeth nods. You know, if you don't look at them or listen to the words that come out of their mouths, they're quite pleasant to be around, she chokes. Oh, I see. You must spend a good amount of time below deck. Annabeth laughs. Well, I certainly talk to Odysseus more than the rest, she agrees. I can tell you get along very well for people who have just met. Very in sync. Circe notes. Well, we're both strategists, Annabeth notes. Circe nods. Neither of you will eat, will you? Nope, Annabeth shakes her head. Then what do you plan to do? I plan to get my men and head home, Odysseus says. We have been gone far too long. My wife is waiting and I can't go home without them. Circe thinks this over. I will return you to your men. You must go to Tiresias in Hades and ask him for counsel. He will help you around your storm, she decides, turning to go. You're helping us? Odysseus asks. He had expected a fight, not this. He looks to Annabeth, who also seemed surprised by the help. It must be a trick, but no, she soon returns with the 20 or so men that went missing. The men throw themselves at his feet, apologizing and shaking. He tucks them near, soothing them. His poor idiots. They reach out to Annabeth too, placing soft kisses at her fingertips, thanking her as well. Annabeth seems surprised, not by the gratitude, but by the form it's being shown, blushing a bit as her fingers are pressed to lips. I'm very grateful to have my crew back. Thank you, Lady Circe. Odysseus thanks her as he gets his man up. You may take some of my stores of food as well to help you on your journey, Circe tells them. You are very generous, he nods to her, his men and him following her to gather the food she indicates. While they are carrying things out, Circe goes to him directly. I gave you honey, milk, wine, water, and flour. This is to be used as an offering to the dead. I will also give you a black ram and ewe to sacrifice to Tiresias directly, she tells him, gesturing him, for him to follow her out. Thank you, he nods to her again as she transforms 2 of her wild boars into the black sheep needed. You took a while? Percy greets him as Odysseus guides the sheep to the boat. Yes, well, it took a bit of talking to get them. Odysseus looks at his men with disapproval. They avoided looking at him. She seemed nice, they say guiltily. Odysseus sighs. Well, I think they all learned a valuable lesson, he says to Percy. I would hope so, Annabeth agrees. I certainly did. Percy nods. Don't mess with witches. Man, it sucks. Yes, well, she was forgiving. We should be grateful for that. He says, she even helped us. She said we must go see Tiresias in Hades. Hades? His men pale. We have to go to the underworld? I'm afraid so. I will call them here, Nico says as he rises from his spot in the shade of their ships, causing a few men to jump. It's easy to forget the boy's presence. Odysseus quickly looks to Nico. Call him here? That can be done. Yes, I am a son of Hades. I don't need to go to where the shades are. They come to me. Nico nods. I just need a whole dog and the proper offerings, Nico says, looking down to the sheep. Odysseus nods. We can do that. He sets 3 of his men to dig on the edge of the beach where it's less sandy. Now, I can't call just one of them. The souls of the afterlife will feel the power. They will all come. People you know and people you do not will want to bathe in the blood. So be prepared for that, he warns, stepping forward once the hole is dug, mixing the honey, milk, wine, water, and flour into a slurry. He then pulls a knife from his belt, not his black sword, and slits the ram's throat, letting the blood flow out into the hole. He whispers things Odysseus can barely make out, the blood rising and bubbling in the grave. Odysseus tenses, a shiver running him up his spine. Nico steps back and draws out his sword as the shades start appearing, walking among his men, crowding around the pool of blood. Men, women, and children all wanting some of the offering. We are here for Tiresias only. The rest are to stay back, he demands of them, raising his sword for them to see, the spirits retreating. Most don't look much different from his men, just a little less there, only appearing out of the corner of an eye, but not being able to look directly at or slightly transparent. They move around the living, but when they do come in contact with them, they pass through. The only thing that separates the spirits from the living is the blood staining their armor. Odysseus looks around at them all, noting the familiar faces of people who died next to him in battle, men he sat next to at fires and feasts. He set his jaw. He has to be calm for his men. It's okay. This is okay. Many try to drink the blood, but Nico always stops them. That is, until a man steps up to the pool of blood, not trying to sneak it like the others, but walking confidently. He addresses Nico first. Son of Hades, you are not meant to be here. His voice is soft and distant, but it carries over his men with ease. There it is again. Every god they've come across has noted that. They are not meant to be here, and now Tiresias has as well. I am aware, Nico agrees, but it is not I who seeks your counsel. Tiresias turns his attention to Odysseus, nodding before he kneels down and cups the blood in his hands, sipping it from them, his form becoming more clear. Son of Laertes, you wish for me to predict an easy solution to your problem, but I fear it is not so, though you have come early and avoided many of your trials, he informs. You will have to sail past the cliffs that have been stained with blood. It is only the other side, that you will find that you need to get through Zeus's storm," he informs, his head tilted ever so slightly up, clouded eyes scanning the space above Odysseus like he was watching all that will happen to him. "But be careful, for Zeus's anger does not dissipate quickly. Do not misstep. You must give offerings to him as soon as you reach your shores, before you greet your wife or son. If you delay with your offerings, the storm will return and wash all of you and Ithaca away," he warns. Odysseus tenses and nods. He will remember that. As soon as they reach the beaches, huge sacrifices. Tiresias turns to Percy next. "Son of Poseidon, you mustn't worry about your mother. Your oracle is aware of your predicament and will return you before a week in your camp has passed," he informs, Percy thanking him before the shade leaves. Nico steps back from the pool of blood, lowering his sword, letting the other shades forward to kneel and drink. Odysseus recognizes the first spirit to step forward by his long golden hair and by the man next to him. Achilles and Patroclus kneel and drink from the pool of blood, their forms becoming more substantial. Odysseus's chest tightens, his stomach twisting. "Achilles," he utters out. He never thought he'd see him again. Certainly not like this. "You live?" Achilles asks as he moves to him, though his partner does not follow him. Odysseus nods. Yes, I'm alive. I lived." He gets out. "Do they tell stories of me? Of my deeds?" he asks. Odysseus does not know. He has not been to land yet. "Yes, they do." Percy steps to him instead. Achilles turns to him. "Your praises are sung far and wide. Even the gods will remember you as one of the great heroes of Greece," he tells him. Odysseus looks at Percy as he speaks. Far and wide. He's not surprised, though Achilles looks like he doesn't quite know how to feel about that. "You do not look happy," he notes. "No, I thought I would enjoy it more. I do not." He looks down at his hands and then around at the others. Percy pauses. "He is remembered too," he says, drawing Achilles' attention back to him. "Patroclus. His story is intertwined with yours, how he was a healer," he tells him hesitantly, like he's remembering a story he had heard a long time ago, and how he donned your armor and nearly scaled the walls of Troy. You are remembered together as friends and lovers. Percy tells him. This is what gets him to smile. "I must tell him," Achilles says, nodding to Odysseus before heading back to his partner, talking to him excitedly. Patroclus is entirely surrounded by his men now, as they show off their scars that they have taken the place of their wounds, wanting to thank him, to show him that they made it. Maybe they're not fully home yet, but they're here. They left, the war is over, and it's thanks to him that not more of them are shades. Many more come forward to share, to congratulate them, to ask for them to send words to their families about their deaths. Some yank on Nico, trying to get his attention, begging for him to bring them back. Actually able to touch him unlike the other men. Nico fits well with them, with his battle-torn and pale skin. He could almost believe he was a shade himself. The other demigods whisper quietly to each other. "Percy, could you—" "No, Charybdis is too powerful." He shakes his head. "I might be able to speed us past, loose free from each ship. Maybe I'm stronger now, so I should be able to get to better focus even with her there." "We could hide everyone below deck," Will suggests. No, if she can't pick anyone off, she might just take the whole ship instead. Annabeth shakes her head. Not if I raise some dead sailors instead, Nico says as the shades start to dissipate around them. She won't know the difference, and all of the men could stay below deck. That could work, Annabeth nods. I don't know, Nico. I don't want you straining yourself, Will frets. I'll be fine. Nico brushes him off. Would Scylla actually take the dead? Odysseus asks, glancing at the shades around them. He doesn't see how she would. They can't be touched. She should. I've used them to distract monsters before. Nico nods, and they wouldn't be spirits, they would be bones, he corrects. She's accepted dead soldiers as payment before, Percy adds. The only issue is I can't call them while on a boat, so I would need to summon them here, and it will be hard for me to keep them stable for long periods of times. So if it takes more than a day to get there... We will have to think of a new plan, Will nods. I was going to say I'll need a long nap after, Nico says with just a hint of guilt in his tone. We will try to get there quickly, Odysseus says, looking to Percy, who nods. I'm feeling better, so I can push us there. Percy agrees. That works. Nico nods, waiting until Odysseus has explained the plan before calling on the dead. Again, plants around him wilting and dying as the ground shakes and bulges. Man stumbling back and the way his skeletal hands claw at the dirt. Odysseus stares. He had expected something like the shades, unnerving and scary, but fine, human. These are not. Bits of fabric and rotting flesh hanging off the bones. Pirates, soldiers, and fishermen pull themselves out of the earth. All lives likely taken by Circe. The beach is soon filled with enough skeletons to fill over 2 of the ships, with just skeletons if they chose. All right, there, Nico says as the earth closes back up, his voice slightly strained. 6 for each ship. Odysseus takes a breath, having to fight back the fear of touching this kid before moving back over and gently wrapping his arm around Nico. Let's hurry so you don't have to keep them here long. He encourages, helping the boy back onto the boat. The skeletons splitting up and climbing aboard their designated ships with his men. The dead wander around the deck of the ship, fussing with the sails or rowing the oars, despite Percy's powers guiding them along. Do they know they are here? Odysseus asks Nico as he watches them. I suppose, in a way, yeah. They're more than just an extension of my will. Not really people, they're just in idle, repeating fragments of their lives while they wait for what they're doing. Nico tries to explain. Odysseus slowly nods. He does not know how he feels about that. His bones resurrected as just an extension of some kid's will, used as a distraction for monsters? What else can they do? He asks instead of dwelling on that thought. Well, I can control the earth, open fissures down to Hades or Tartarus, control bones and summon skeletons to fight for me, or do this. He gestures around. I can call spirits and control them as well. I can feel when someone is near death. That one's very helpful, Will inputs, Nico nodding. And I can walk through shadows and dreams, Nico shares. Dreams? Odysseus questions. Yeah, since death and sleep are so closely related, I can move through dreams easier than most and talk to people through them, Nico offers. How far does that reach? Odysseus asks. Anywhere I want it to, really. As long as the person is asleep, it just... Hard. Dreams are confusing. He trails off, realizing what Odysseus was asking. Do you want me to try and find your wife? Yes, if it's not too much to ask. I'd love to get a message to her. Odysseus nods. Nico thinks this over. I could try. I don't promise anything, but I'll try. He agrees. Odysseus' heart flutters at the thought. After 10 years, he might be able to talk to his wife. If you can, tell her we're coming as soon as we can, and that I miss her, he requests. Will do, Nico nods. Just don't get your hopes up. Right, Odysseus nods. He wants to sing and dance, but he can't. He needs to focus on Scylla. Focus on keeping them all safe. A little bonus here. That was so terrifying! The shades and then the ground dying and opening up skeletons! Elpenor whispers. Yeah, impressive too. Perimedes nods. Definitely impressive. Elpenor agrees, looking around at the skeletons. Think he could kill all of us at once? Did you see how many skeletons he summoned? Even if he can just, snap his fingers and kill someone, he could probably summon, an undead army to kill all of us. Ooh, I was thinking of the ground. Just open it up like a giant mouth and crunch. But that's way more horrifying. Why do you always say the most horrifying shit? Elpenor mumbles. Think he would if we did something to piss him off? Oh, yeah, honestly, I think he already hates all of us. I think he just can't while on a boat. Perimedes nods. That is why you're like this? Elpenor asks. What? It's like the water thing, right? Poseidon keeps him from working. Perimedes asks. That is not what I meant, and you know it. Elpenor says with an exasperation. Well, just don't piss the kid off and you'll probably be fine. Perimedes shrugs and returns to ship. Tasks are at least looking like he's doing something. And that's it for today. We finally went through Circe's island. Nobody except a few idiot men turned to pigs. Annabeth and Odysseus got to talk a little bit, and Nico got to show off. That's great. But I will not take any of your time any longer. Please go to the link in the description to head to the fic itself and give Avesrinapproved some love in the form of kudos and comments. With that, take care everyone, and I'll see you next time, my lovelies. Bye-bye.